Today, we're diving into a movement that didn't just tweak religious rules in India, it completely flipped the script on what it means to connect with the divine. This is the story of the Bhakti Movement, a true revolution of the heart. So that brings us to the big question we're going to unpack. How on earth did a movement, built on something as personal as devotion, manage to shake the very foundations of society and create a whole new spiritual world for millions of people? All right, to really get how big a deal this was, you got to understand the world it was born into. So let's set the stage for this incredible spiritual drama. Yeah, this slide really nails the problem. For your average person back in medieval India, spirituality felt kind of locked away, you know? You had these super complex rituals that only priests could do, and then this really strict caste system telling you your place. A direct line to God, that felt like a privilege for the few, not a real possibility for the many. But right into this world of walls and rules, a powerful new idea started bubbling up, a path that promised to just tear those walls right down. And that path was bhakti. It's such a beautifully simple idea when you break it down. A direct line to God through nothing more than pure trust, devotion, and just heartfelt surrender. No complicated rituals, no gatekeepers needed, just a personal one-on-one connection. And here's the part that was so radical. This path was open to everyone. It didn't matter if you were a king or a weaver, a man or a woman. The doors to the divine were suddenly thrown wide open for all. And wow, that was a direct challenge to the entire social structure of the time. Of course, an idea is one thing, but you need people to give it a voice, right? And the Bhakti movement had some absolutely incredible voices, these poet saints who traveled all over, using their words to build bridges across all the divides in society. One of the most powerful of these voices was Kabir, and his life story alone tells you everything you need to know about the unity he preached. He was raised in a Muslim family of weavers, but he became a disciple of the Hindu saint Ramananda. I mean, his whole life was a bridge between these two worlds. And Kabir's message, it was absolutely fearless. He just cut right through all the dogma, saying, hey, God is one, whether you call him Rama or Allah. He totally attacked the injustice of the caste system and called out all the empty rituals. And he packaged these huge ideas into these simple, beautiful two-line poems called dohas. People could actually remember them and share them. And guess what? They're still recited today. And you can see here, Kabir wasn't a lone voice crying out in the wilderness. Just look at the powerful parallels with Guru Nanak, the founder of Sikhism. They were both preaching the oneness of God. They both went after the caste system. Guru Nanak did it in this really practical way by starting the langar, the community kitchen, where everyone, from the highest to the lowest, sat down and ate together as equals. It was this shared vision for a more united, more humane world. But this wasn't just about challenging ideas. This was a movement of the heart, and it was expressed through emotion, through art, and especially through music. Devotion found its most powerful voice in song. Okay, take Mirabai. We're talking about a princess who literally turned her back on the palace and a life of total luxury. She traded it all in for a life of devotion to Lord Krishna, pouring all that love into thousands of devotional songs, or bhajans. And these songs spread like wildfire from village to village. They weren't just songs. They became the soundtrack of daily faith for regular people. And then you have Purandara Dasaru. His contribution is just monumental. He's known as the father of Carnatic music, which is one of India's great classical traditions. He didn't just write songs, he created a whole system for music education that's still used today. And he did it all as an act of devotion, turning these complex musical ideas into a shared language of faith. And this quote from him, it just perfectly captures his whole message and really the spirit of the entire Bhakti movement. He's asking, what's the point of all the external cleaning and rituals if your heart isn't pure? Real faith, he was saying, had to start from the inside. So at the end of the day, his message was simple. This life we have is precious. Don't waste it on empty shows of piety. Find its real meaning in genuine, internal faith and in being kind to each other. So after all that, what was the lasting impact? Did this revolution of the heart actually change society? The answer is a huge, resounding yes. The effects were just so widespread and deep. It really pushed for social reform by challenging the whole idea of the caste system. It kicked off this cultural explosion in music and poetry. It built bridges of harmony between Hindus and Muslims. And this is a big one, it led to a total renaissance for local languages. Let's just zoom in on that language part, because it is huge. Before the Bhakti movement, most of the sacred knowledge was locked away in Sanskrit, the language of the elite. These saints started writing and singing in the languages of the people. Tulsidas's Ramacharita in Hindi, Gyanadeva's Gyaneshwari in Marathi. All of a sudden, these profound spiritual ideas were accessible to everybody. That was a total cultural game changer.
So, when you look at the big picture, the Bhakti movement was a profound success. Now, it didn't solve every single problem, of course, but it absolutely steered society in a more humane, more inclusive direction. It wove this rich cultural tapestry that we can still see and feel today. And that really leaves us with a question for our own time, doesn't it? In a world that's still grappling with division and inequality, what can we learn from these centuries-old ideals of love, equality, and a faith that comes directly from the heart? How might they challenge and inspire us right now? That's something really worth thinking about.